morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you are doing really well. So this message came through to me really heavy this morning, and I was like, oh my goodness. My spirit team was like heavy, but then I transmuted it all. And so part of this message is about alchemy. And alchemy in the way that sometimes when you're alchemizing things that are so dark and so dense and so heavy, you cannot see the light at all. You basically feel like you're surrounded by darkness. I'm just lighting some incense here. You basically feel like you are in a complete cloud of darkness, not realizing that you are literally that light in that darkness. And that is why we have to transmute dark energy and alchemize it into light, okay, within ourselves and for like the greater good, for God, for the planet, for humanity, for peace, for love, for light. It's not just us that it affects. It's our legacy, it's the people that come after us, it's our children, it's everything. It's those that we're surrounded to, connected to, but it's also for the greater good of humanity and the planet and people and the earth and just the greater universe, okay? Because we're not the only planet in the universe, not alone. Okay, now, sometimes when you go through such immense darkness, it can be scary, okay? Because some of us are sent into the deepest, darkest situations because only love can alchemize hatred and only light can alchemize dark. It's really hard to understand unless you've lived it. But like if you have two really hateful people clashing, it's just going to create even more and more of a flow on of negativity and hatred. But when you've got someone who is of the light love, it doesn't mean you take on their stuff. It doesn't mean that you keep them in your life. These are all really hard lessons, brutal lessons, I would say, that I've learned. But we do take that energy and those patterns and that dysfunction and that toxicity and that immaturity and that pain and that suffering and that generational cycle, curse, addiction, issues, etc., 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 and we alchemize that into light, which means we don't repeat the patterns, we become more present, our heart remains open or reopens, we remain pure, we remain aligned with God, and we are divinely obedient even if it is extremely challenging. Okay, so all of those things play into alchemy. The thing that a lot of people miss about this, and something that I missed for a long time, is that when you have a great deal of empathy or purity within you, you will attract a lot of darkness. Now, I, for a long time, thought that it meant tolerating those people, tolerating those patterns, just tolerating it because that's how they were. I thought I had to. I thought I couldn't change it. I thought I couldn't make different decisions or choices for myself. I felt trapped. I thought I had to save these people and rescue them. And I thought that if I wasn't showing love, then I wasn't love. Now, that is all not correct. So we go through these things so that we can alchemize all of that and we can transmute it so that we can rise into higher consciousness, higher light, and we can transmute those energies, but also detach from those energies so that they can learn their own lessons of their own accord and have their own consequences and their own journeys. Because when you are protecting people in your energy, whether you realize this or not, or you're making choices and you're constantly thinking about how you can help other people, and you're constantly thinking about how you can do this for them and that for them, and you're making choices of your own life for them, but they're not interested in you and they don't care, you're actually doing yourself a huge disservice, and you're doing them a disservice as well, because like they're not learning and growing and you're staying stuck and hindered and like weighed down. So there's that. But then there's the other side of it, which is the side that is widely talked about at the moment with narcissism and stuff like that. And there's a lot of really good points about narcissism, like realistic stuff about narcissism out there with like doctors and teachers and counselors and psychologists and stuff like that. I don't have any of those degrees, but I have literally like a human degree in it. So I don't need a quote unquote paper degree. That's not me throwing off at anyone who does or anyone who has studied or anything like that. Because it's so much deeper than just like the personality dysfunction and this and like all of that sort of stuff. And you know, like there's a lot of movies out there on like serial killers, there's psychopaths and narcissists and like people that, especially men that are like predatory and violent and abusive and entitled and downright just fucking dangerous. That's one part of it. That's like the human part of it, like that primal urge, like that very distorted, fucked up behavioral side of it. But what Spirit drew my attention to, and I absolutely cannot stand this movie, but the person that I used to be with, and this is why I've learned all of this and so much of this, because I've literally lived it. Like, it's scary stuff, okay? Until you remember who you are and you realize that you're so divinely protected. But all praise to God and my spirit team and just Mother Earth and my protection, okay? And they showed me the movie Split. I think it's called Split. I don't know the actor. It could be James McAvoy. Anyway, he's got like multiple personalities, but there's like one personality that's like the worst of the worst. And I think they call it like the beast personality. I can't be 100% sure, but it's like the most dangerous personality that he embodies, right? And basically, like in a nutshell, and I don't remember this movie that much, but what they're showing me is like he basically embodies all these different personalities. So like he can go from being like one person to then like a totally different personality to then like a totally different personality and totally different personality. And then like he goes into like this isolation weird mode, and then he becomes like, he thinks he's like this, I don't know if it's a tiger or some sort of beast, but he's like a predator. Like he's extremely dangerous and he like tries to kill women, I think. Now, so that is signs of like narcissism, a psychopath, someone who's extremely delusional and detached from reality and living in like complete fantasy land, that they're like, I don't know, whatever these people think, these fucked up serial killers and stuff. But on the opposite side of that, so what my team showed me is the split, going with the movie, the split of like darkness and light. So for me, like when we pray to God, when we stay in alignment, when we follow our higher self, or like the honest path, the temple path, whatever it is, right? Even if it's really challenging, we are choosing consciously to stay in the light. So we're praying, we're doing things that are pure of heart, we're making decisions consciously and intentionally to love ourselves, love our children, love the people we're around, and love, like put love out there in general to like humanity and for the greater good of all, right? That's one split of the light. Then you've got the other side of that, which is dark. Now, I'm not just talking about people who are like wounded and project and things like that. I'm talking about hurt people who hurt people intentionally. Okay, so the dark, evil, malevolent side. And I was like, fuck, gee, thanks for this, Spirit. So what that split is, right, is where they intentionally, consciously, willingly, knowingly, and entitled seek to harm and take great pleasure in harming other individuals. Okay? So this largely shows up in society as predatory men on women, but it's not just that. It's like predatory women as well on women and men and all that. Like, it's not just one thing. It's just, and so what I was shown about this is that, yes, there's narcissism, yes, there's like psychopaths and serial killers, but like, you know, there's like the spiritual warfare side of things where everything happens in the spirit and then it manifests physically, right? So what this means is that with this split personality and this person that they were showing me where he's like got all these different personalities, is that the devil is a fucking liar. So I pray to God, okay, and the archangels. These people don't, they pray to the devil and they worship, unfortunately, satanic entities and deities or whatever they call it. I don't know anything about this shit, but like, it's real, right? Okay. And how you know that you've come across someone like this, because I've physically experienced it and seen it, is that like you'll see that they'll be talking to themselves. They'll be like, you know, like muttering, walking around muttering words under their breath, which are like spells or like hateful intentions towards other people, or conjuring up, like, you know, that's why there's all these movies out there. Like, this stuff is real. Like, I know that you see it in movies and it's all like, oh, it's a movie, you know, but it's not. Like, there's movies called like The Conjuring because they conjure up these dark spirits. The way that we pull the light down, they conjure up these dark spirits and basically like try and unleash them onto people, okay, to harm them. And if people are not aware of this, they will become extremely unwell. You'll feel really heavy energy around you, like it feels like being attacked all the time. I'm talking energetically as well as physically, but I'm talking energetically. You'll see their eyes will go like jet black, you know, as if like a demon has just jumped into their body and taken over, which is what happens because these people are extremely low vibrational. They have no connection to their heart or to the divine at all. Okay, and so here along we come, our beautiful empaths and pure of heart, and we think that we can help these people. We cannot. Okay, there are some people that you can lovingly help and heal and support and help them to find their own light within. These people, these individuals, these creatures that I'm referring to, okay, and in the movie Split, there's no help for these people. There's no help for these people. They are consumed by darkness. They've sold their soul to the devil and they conjure up dark entities to harm other people because it, unfortunately, is really gross because life force energy is sexual energy. So it's like conjuring up really gross, intense, foul, lustful, sexual energy to then direct that towards a victim, basically. And, you know, it can show up like, you know, you've read about all the traits of narcissism, you know, entitlement abuse, financial abuse, like isolation, all of that. But it's much deeper than that. It's like these people have completely distorted realities, completely distorted perceptions of what's going on. They lie and deceive and cheat and steal and thieve. They don't care who they hurt, whether it's their wife, their husband, their own family, their siblings, their mother, their father, their own children. They will do anything to get what they want and get that hit of energy. And a lot of the time it comes from really sadistic actions. You know, you've seen those people who sit around, they're like misery loves company. So like if you're happy or if you're trying to do anything, they're like almost stalking you, like watching you, like they've got nothing else to do because they're so fixated on it. That's what these people do. They fixate on your light and they fixate on like how they can harm you because they literally get off on it. So like whilst we find great pleasure in love and light and helping other people and supporting them and connection and all that, they get off on the thought of hurting people and harming people and sometimes killing people and torturing people and stuff like that. This stuff is real, okay? I have lived it. I can tell you that it's real. I know I don't look like what I've been through, but that is the art of alchemy, and that is the divine. And that's why till the day I die, I will say all praise to the divine, because divine protection is real and spiritual protection and energetic hygiene is paramount, especially if you know that you're someone who holds a lot of light and someone that has been through immense darkness. Okay, learn the lessons and alchemize them, but never go back. And it's funny because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I really wanted to watch a movie last night, and I haven't seen this movie in like probably 5 years. And when I first watched this movie, maybe even longer than that, when I first watched this movie, I was like, I really like this movie, because just in the movie, Zac Efron's like really attractive and he's very masculine. And anyway, had no idea how that would correlate to me now in life, kind of 6 years later after being in a 5-year relationship. Very abusive, very dark, very narcissistic, but just very like predatory, and then having children with that person as well. And I was kind of like, oh fuck, like spirit can bring you into like a 360 or a 180 moment where you're like, oh, you know, and it really helps you to like transmute a lot of that pain, alchemize it, but also to recognize your own patterns and decisions and choices, and like how you can change that moving forward. So at the time I didn't have children, I wasn't with anybody. The movie's called The Lucky One. It's with Zac Efron, and he's basically he's like a Marine, and he if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a great movie, but there's also parts that are so fucked up. And any woman, God bless you, or anyone like that's been in a truly abusive relationship, they don't really highlight the level of abuse, but it's very, her ex-husband's very manipulative, very controlling. Anyway, the lucky one, he believes that he is saved by this woman because he finds a photo in the middle of a battlefield or like a raid. He finds her photo. It's not his, obviously. He finds this photo and he believes that she's like basically an angel that has kind of led him out of this situation, right? Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he meets her, but he's a Marine, so he's like he's very controlled, he's very measured, he's very disciplined, very manly, very like just sexy, very capable. And he meets her, he starts working for their like little place, their little business. And she has an ex-husband and she has a child with him, and the ex-husband is a police officer. So he thinks, because of the way he is, he's so narcissistic and foul, he uses his title as a police officer to like basically threaten, and his father's running for mayor. So, you know, we see this all the time, threatens that he'll take the child, and she's a great mother, but he, you know, tries to make out that she's not. I've been there. And she'll do anything for the son, including putting her relationship to bed with Zac Efron's character because of the manipulation and threats by the father, who's a police officer, who's using his authority for bad, just because he's a little piece of shit. But there's, you know, he constantly harasses her and manipulates her and bullies her and like steamrolls her, and he feels entitled to her, touches her whenever he wants. It's disgusting, like it's vile. And I've been there, so I can be like, oh, you know, heal that and let it go so that it doesn't bother you anymore. But these men, they get onto everyone, and it's just, anyway, Zac Efron's character protects her, and he's very protective of her, and the other guy doesn't like that, obviously, because distorted energy doesn't like divine energy. The lies don't like the truth tellers and things like that. So they make out that, you know, he makes out that he's crazy and he's like a drifter and he doesn't know what's going on and he's a creep, and he basically convinces her, you know, he puts on his like police hat and he acts like all like he cares about her and stuff, but he doesn't. He just wants to interfere with her relationship and watch her be miserable because he gets off on it. And, you know, he basically comes to her one last time blind drunk and just in absolutely putrid energy and just foul, and she makes the mistake of opening the door to him. So this was a really strong message for me, and if this is you and you are someone who is like resonating with this message, I love you. And don't open the door to these people. Don't open the door. Don't let your empathy take over and be like, I've got to open the door and see what these fucking creeps want that are just turning up at my house unannounced, drunk in the middle of the night. No, you don't open the door, especially if you've got children. You do not open the door. Anyway, she does open the door to him, and he's like blind drunk and he's all over her, and he's saying, I want a second chance. I want a second chance. And she's like very calm, very nice. She's like, I know you want to see our child, but like it's not going to happen for us. And then of course he instantly snaps because he's a psycho, and doesn't want to be told no and feels entitled to her. And so he starts threatening her about the child because that's literally all he's got. And she's petrified because she's the mother and she wants to see the child safe. And this is how these creeps get around it. And this is how I stayed trapped for so long, because, you know, I believed it too. And these people are cowards and bullies. Anyway, he is so intoxicated and just foul that he tries to go after the child, and the child, it's almost like divine intervention happens and the child realizes something's wrong and he runs. But what happens is there's a storm outside and the child runs outside and basically gets caught on like this bridge to his treehouse that he goes to. And the father's chasing after him, drunk and all disorderly and stuff. And then the mother's like obviously hysterically screaming and crying. And the Marine, Zac Efron's character, her grandmother says, go and help her, because they're at like loggerheads. She's basically left him because of the other guy saying all this stuff. Anyway, Zac Efron's character steps in to help the mother get the boy, because the boy's like in the river and it's like the torrent is going, but the father's also in the river, drunk and disorderly, and like he's like, he's all over the place, like trying to kind of help the child, but he's not doing anything but hinder it, and he's scaring the boy, and the boy's like screaming out, help, but because he's so disorientated and intoxicated and not in his right mind, he can't help him. Anyway, he eventually like kind of grabs him, but it's a bit dangerous. So the father hands him to Zac Efron's character, and Zac Efron basically saves him and gets the mother out of the water and to safety, and they're all okay. And Zac Efron's character is about to go back and help the drunken, disorderly individual in the river, but the treehouse collapses on him and washes him down the river. And kind of in the movie they portray it that like the father's a little bit of a hero because he saved the boy and kind of sacrificed himself. And when I first watched that movie sort of 5 to 6 years ago, that's how I felt about it, because I was such a deep empath and all this, And then the me now, after what I've been through and just knowing what these people can do and how dangerous they are, firstly, he caused that whole situation. He put her in danger, the child in danger, and Zac Efron's character in danger because of his dangerous behaviour and the way that he scared his own child, because he didn't give a fuck about how he hurt his own child. He just wanted to hurt the mother by saying, I'll take the son, and get his way and win, not that he cares about him. He then was drunk and disorderly and incoherent and didn't have the means to understand what was going on, let alone anyone who could be in like a river that was rushing that quickly, anyone that was even sober or healthy or fit. And so the point of this is the point that Spirit made to me, and this is where divine intervention and divine surrender comes into it. Revenge is not our place. God's wrath will always be on God, okay, and on the universe. And sometimes we don't understand it and we're not supposed to, but there are consequences for actions, and the universe will move things as they see fit for what needs to be done. Because sometimes we don't see the pure evil that's being done to us behind our back, because these people are cowards, so they do it behind our back. They stalk, they deceive, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they thieve, they whatever. And it's all behind our back, and they cast these evil spells and spell work and black magic and stuff, and it's all behind our back so that we don't, quote unquote, know about it. And they think we don't know about it, but we're intuitive and we're in touch with God. And of course the devil's promising them all this sort of bullshit, which is false. And yeah, sometimes divine intervention does come in and make that removal. And that's kind of my message, is like, trust so deeply in God, and trust so deeply in your path and what you've been shown by God and your angels and your spirit team and your intuition, that you follow the steps that you're divinely guided to take, but you get the fuck out of the way and let the universe help you by rearranging things that need to be done. Allow divine intervention and allow divine surrender, and allow God, your angels, the universe, spirit, to remove for you what is no longer for you. Because if you don't, they will forcibly remove it. But if you, even though it's hard and painful and stuff, you'll look back and realize that it was literally happening for you and literally bringing you into alignment with like the greatest things that you should ever and will ever experience. And basically at the end of that movie, she does end up with him, and he is like, they have the most incredible relationship, and her son and him are like safe and happy and just living a beautiful life, simple life. And so if we get out of our own way and we listen to God and what he is telling us for our own individual lives, journeys, lessons, assignments, whatever it is that you want to subscribe to, allow it, because divine intervention is real and divine guidance is real, and this stuff is real. Like, I know that a lot of people just think it's all in movies and this and that and the other, but it's not. And just trust yourself and trust your intuition, and never let anyone go against you, doubt you, or confuse you. Because if you're in a situation like that, please let me tell you right now that you are in the wrong situation. If anyone, it doesn't matter who they are, family, friends, an intimate partner, a job, anyone who is making you feel less than, put down, torn down, confused, abused, depressed, or anything like that, you are in the wrong place. And if you don't start listening to your divine guidance, God will move you and it will hurt more. So give gratitude to everything that happens, because it really does happen for us. And I cannot even tell you the things that have happened in my life. Like, some of them are so unbelievable that it's just like, what the? But it all comes back to divine guidance, divine intervention, and literally just gratitude and appreciation for God and the universe and the angels and just the forces of good that really are available to us if we tap in. I'm sending you much love.